Greetings and welcome to the 2021 New England Newspaper Awards. I'm John Boquette. I'm editor at the Newtown Bee in Connecticut and past president of the New England Newspaper and Press Association. I want to welcome all the attendees and all my fellow journalists to this session of awards for Publick Occurrences. Publick Occurrences Awards recognize the very best work that New England newspapers produce each year, whether it's individual or team stories, series, spot news coverage, columns, or photojournalism that ran in print and or online. We might even sneak a few podcasts in here, who knows? Well, here are this year's winners. Let's start it off with 7 Days in Burlington, Vermont. Their winning piece is entitled, "It's in the Building." 7 days humanizing stories on a nursing home hit by COVID-19 are beautiful, heartbreaking, but impossible to stop reading. This is narrative journalism at its best, according to the judges. Take a look. Our next Publick Occurrences Award goes to the Salem News of Salem, Massachusetts, on the Varian cleanup. Paul Layton of the Salem News is exactly the kind of reporter every newsroom needs, according to our judges, someone who can find a good story in the legal notices. After Layton spotted an ad about a new cleanup site report, he set to work combing through pages, digging through records, and seeking out expert opinions about his findings. The result, an authoritative series that shows the toxic chemicals still lurk around the Varian Associates industrial site 30 years after it was shuttered. As one official said, when you're seeing tens of thousands of parts per billion, you've got a problem. The treatment is a colossal failure. Kudos to Layton for his solid reporting, clear writing, and most importantly, his vigilance on behalf of the residents of Beverly, Massachusetts. Our next Publick Occurrences Award goes to the Connecticut Health Eye Team for their piece on the lead poisoning epidemic. This in-depth investigation starts with a simple question: why are so many Connecticut children ending up victims of lead poisoning? Through digging, documents, and data, Jennifer Frank uncovers the systemic failure of half-hearted government oversight that disproportionately impacts minority communities. This is an excellent piece of accountability journalism, according to our judges. Our next Publick Occurrences Award goes to the Telegram and Gazette of Worcester, Massachusetts, and their piece on the police records lawsuit. The 3-year ongoing battle by the Telegram and Gazette to obtain Worcester police disciplinary records reflects one of the primary purposes of journalism in New England and throughout our nation: holding the powerful accountable and preventing government from hiding the truth from the people it's supposed to serve. Persistence, perseverance, and courage are the hallmarks of this valiant effort that's worthy of this award and the emulation of newsrooms everywhere. Our next Publick Occurrences Award goes to the Day of New London, Connecticut. This piece, a podcast, is entitled "Looking for the Todd Family." The murder of a family sent shockwaves through communities in Connecticut and Florida. In addition to traditional coverage of this story, the Day decided to tell it through an audio podcast. The work was labor intensive, but the end product was more compelling than anything in print. This 10-episode podcast included interviews in Florida, interviews of family and friends, and a dramatic call from prison. This podcast received more than 200,000 downloads, and the judges said you can tell a lot of work went into it to make it incredibly powerful, detailed, and compelling. The Day's podcast was, in a word, captivating. Our next Publick Occurrences Award goes to the Worcester Magazine in Worcester, Massachusetts, chronicling a refugee's journey. This piece about an LGBTQ refugee's traumatic journey from Uganda to Worcester was heartbreaking. This harrowing tale was multi-sourced and well told, according to our judges. Take a look. Our next Public Occurrences Award goes to the Martha's Vineyard Times in Vineyard Haven, Massachusetts. This piece is entitled Voices on Racism. By gathering a collection of oral histories from community members of color on their experiences with prejudice, bias, and racism, this project opened up meaningful dialogue in the community. This section was pure eloquence, judges said, and a true public service. Our next Public Occurrences Award is for the Burlington Free Press. Their piece, A Ski Resort, a Dream and Greed. The Free Press journalists presented a compelling read using thorough research to piece together a massive fraud story. They accomplished their goal of telling readers how that fraud unfolded in expert fashion. Take a look. Our next Public Occurrences Award is going to the Gloucester Daily Times in Gloucester, Massachusetts. Their piece, Mayor, a Toxic Leader. A newspaper standing up for ethics and balancing the scales of justice was great to see. And action happened as a result of this story in the form of an ethics ordinance that now provides the basis for further accountability. The perfect result of good journalism. Our next Public Occurrences Award goes again to the Day of New London, Connecticut. This item, called Pandemic Deaths Leave an Unfillable Void. An all-out effort to record how COVID affected the residents of New London County. The paper should be credited with tracking down the list from the state through a Freedom of Information request. It shows a brave display of names on the front page and involvement by all the departments at the day: sports, business, editorial, and they produced a podcast as well. Our next Public Occurrences Award goes to the Herald News of Fall River, Massachusetts. Their piece, Jaciel Carrera Trial Coverage. For any newspaper this size, simply covering a day-to-day trial would be a challenge, but the Herald News of Fall River did that and so much more, providing helpful, conversational, even humor-infused FAQs, and providing questions and answers in Q&A format to illustrate explanations and analysis to supplement the coverage. It was also well illustrated. This is an excellent example of a news organization thinking hard about what its readership wants and then delivering. Our next Public Occurrences Award goes to the Patriot Ledger in Quincy, Massachusetts, their Guilfoyle PR series. Judges really like this series, which challenges the need by town governments, police, fire, and school departments to hire outside help to speak for them. And judges were surprised that John Guilfoyle and his organization, which includes former journalists, would not recognize the potential and apparent conflict of interest in overseeing investigations of entities connected to the administrations that hired the company, at least in part, to write positive press about them. Graphics accompanying the text made helpful points and invited readers into the stories. This was a good pursuit of public records, fleshing out the report. Our next Public Occurrences Award goes to the Connecticut Mirror, CT Mirror in Hartford, Connecticut, for their piece on the vaccine rollout. The Mirror wasn't alone in covering problems with Connecticut's vaccine rollout, but its work stands out for shedding light on the unintended racial inequities of an age-based system. A strong example of the media's commitment to hold the powerful to account. Our next Public Occurrences Award goes to my hometown paper, the Republican American in Waterbury, Connecticut. A piece called Focus On. Judges were blown away by the Republican American's innovative and information-rich focus sections. These sections highlighted every week a different topic and delivered eye-opening information, statistics, thoughtful analysis, and truth. Judges are sure that the sections on COVID persuaded many skeptical readers to get vaccinated. This is life-saving local journalism. And P.S. Paul Hughes' budget breakdowns were also a great reader service. Our next Publick Occurrences Award goes to the Keene Sentinel in Keene, New Hampshire, for their coverage of pandemic parenting. To get through a year of homeschooling, the Keene Sentinel provided solutions in pandemic parenting. These were therapeutic, informational, and in-depth, not just how to entertain your kids tips, but fascinating conversations about learning loss and how kids engage and reflect in the time of a pandemic. And our final Publick Occurrences Award for our 2021 session, again, goes to the Patriot Ledger of Quincy, Massachusetts. This piece entitled Narcan, A Shot at Life. The Patriot Ledger's review of the local police department's 10-year record of carrying Narcan was great follow-up journalism, showing the impact a controversial policy change can have. The data was terrific, and judges especially loved the portraits of people who led fulfilling lives after Narcan saved them. Once again, hearty congratulations to all of the contributors and especially those who took home Publick Occurrences Awards today. I'm John Boquette, editor of the Newtown Bee in Connecticut, and I am hoping that we will see you all tomorrow at the second segment of our awards. But for now, we hope you're getting lots of great information out of the conference, and we'll see you again tomorrow.